Hearing Mark confess his love to her, JJ was touched, but soon realized that she didn't want to rush into it and wasn't sure if her feelings were mutual. Ignoring the guy and reducing the whole conversation to a joke, the girl runs away. A little later, she finds herself in the girls' restroom, where she notices several writings left by other female students. Some of the writings frankly angered JJ, especially the mention of Mark, who is the dream of many girls. Deciding to use the so-called message board, JJ writes a few words and leaves, leaving her cell phone in the bathroom. A little later, she shows Seema and David the videotape made in the restroom. Immediately after her, Freya and her friend are in the room. Upon seeing JJ's offensive message, they assume it's Ella's doing and call her an easygoing girl. JJ hopes to use this as proof that Mika did not insult her cousin's girlfriend and the bullying by the bullies needs to stop. A little while later, Mika hands JJ a love letter and asks her to give it to Calix since she's too afraid to do it out of hand. After handing over the letter, JJ and the other classmates wait with interest for the guy to open and read the letter. The moment Calix reads Mickey's letter, he begins to cry, shocking everyone present. They comfort and support their comrade, but it turns out that Mika gave him a chance at a relationship, and it's tears of joy. After hugging him tightly and thanking JJ for his help, Calix runs away to his favorite girl. Upon returning home, JJ shows Aris the bathroom tape that clearly shows his girlfriend being insulted by Freya, not Mika. The cousin promises to stop harassing the unfortunate Mika, but has no intention of retaliating against Freya or punishing her in any way. Moreover, Aris is sure that JJ is deliberately trying to provoke a conflict between them to get back at his abuser. On his way to school, JJ meets a handsome blue-eyed guy in an expensive car. He asks for directions and tries to meet the girl, but immediately drives away as soon as he notices Yuri's car. Yuri is clearly nervous as he knows the man and is worried about JJ. After stealing the girl's bike, Yuri makes sure the girl goes with the driver in his car. Once at school, JJ pranks Yuri, which makes Mark feel jealous. At one point, the teachers walk out, leaving the two rival classes unattended. Yuri informs Mark that he has seen a blue-eyed guy named Percy, but his comrade doesn't believe it, thinking he was imagining things. At one point, Seem pranks a classmate and takes away her cell phone. JJ chases the comrade, but Mark trips her, causing her to fall. Enraged, the girl makes him fall as well, causing a fight to break out. The classmates are afraid that the couple will fight again and bet on the winner, and Eris is nervous to see their conflict from the outside. JJ runs away, but Mark begins to chase her and at one point kisses the girl, shocking everyone present. JJ is sure it was an accident, but the bully claims she did it on purpose, as she has wanted to kiss him for a long time. The cousin is outraged by what is happening and tries to get in on their dialogue to get his sister. Mark and Eris grab her hands and start pulling her in different directions, but JJ demands to let her go. Once that happens, Mark pulls the girl to him again and kisses her passionately, further shocking Eris and his classmates. Mark hoped that JJ would reciprocate, but it didn't happen. Instead, the girl hit him hard in the eye, causing the guy to need ice and help from his classmates. Yuri is a little angry at his comrade and tries to understand the reasons for his behavior, but Mark reminds him that this is their plan, according to which JJ must fall in love with him, after which he will dump her, taking revenge on Aris and Ella. The next morning, JJ arrives at school and keeps thinking about the kiss. On the one hand, she likes that Mark was brave and persistent, but on the other hand, she still can't figure out how she feels about him. Trying not to think about it, the schoolgirl beats herself on the head, which surprises her excited comrades. A little later, she goes to the bathroom to wash up and clean herself up. This is also where she meets Rocky and learns that she needs to be careful with Freya. Aris kissed her once, and now the girl is using it to blackmail her. She is capable of ruining anyone's life, including Rocky. She and Seema were in love, but Freya fell in love with Seema and decided to ruin the couple's relationship. By setting up a false accusation, she made sure that Seema was called a thief, resulting in him being sent to a class for losers. Upon returning to class, there is no way JJ can pull herself together due to a severe persistent headache and fatigue. She has been up all night, but now there is an important test that will determine her future fate. The schoolgirl tries to concentrate, but she feels bad, causing JJ to fall asleep. Mark and Yuri try to wake up the girl and make her write the test, but without success. A while later, her classmates try to wake her up again and inform her that class is over. JJ is in a panic because she did not write the test, and she may be kicked out of school, informing her relatives. The next day, Seem offers to share a meal with the girl, but he has already eaten all the cooked food. He has a set of food items to make pancakes, but JJ can't make a meal without a kitchen. After throwing the covers off the items behind them, Sem reveals a secret to the girl. As it turns out, they have a huge kitchen with dishes and a cooktop behind them. Determined to keep her promise, JJ makes pancakes to feed her classmates. At one point, Mark declares that he only wants the girl to cook for him. JJ forgets all about it, causing the pancake to burn. She chases Mark away and decides to start over, and Yuri decides to help her since she loves to cook. After class, Mark offers to look at the test results. JJ is scared, as she knows she didn't write and could have gotten a low grade, but she didn't. She has a high score, and only 2 people took the test better than her, Mark and Yuri. As it turned out, the bullies are very smart guys. Moreover, JJ's paper was written by one of them. Mark was very worried about the girl and did everything instead of her so that she got a good grade. Seem did the worst, which upsets JJ, and she decides to talk to him. Meeting a friend in the hall, the girl witnesses strange events. An unknown schoolgirl takes away Seema's bag, after which she claims that he robbed her. Seem tries to prove that he did nothing, but he is not believed. The girl and her boyfriend claim that the schoolboy stole from them and create a scandalous situation. JJ intervenes and defends his friend, but the gathered crowd considers Seem a thief. The classmates defend the guy, and at one point, one of the rich men reimburses the stolen funds to settle the conflict. JJ would like to attack and beat up Freya, assuming she's the one who caused the scandal, but the boys drag her off to class, preventing a fight. JJ asks Seema to tell the truth, and it really hurts the guy. He struggles to hold back tears and admits that he never did anything wrong, but they don't believe him. Classmates collectively support the comrade, saying that they do not doubt his honesty. In the evening, JJ walks Seem home and tries to meet his mother, but the woman works as a doctor and is too busy. A few days later, Mark suggests that JJ take over the investigation to get justice. After the incident, Seem doesn't show up at school, even though everyone knows he's not a criminal. Mark wants to skip classes to come up with a revenge plan, and JJ agrees to it. A little later, he gives back the money that Seem sort of stole and offers to give it to the victim to see how she reacts to it. Meanwhile, Eris guesses that it wasn't Freya who decided to frame Seem, but his girlfriend. Ella admits that she made a show of stealing to ruin JJ's life. She's offended that the guys in E-class treat the girl better than she once did, and she's determined to ruin their relationship. Eris asks her to stop doing stupid things because Ella is not a bad person and shouldn't act in such a nasty way. In the evening, Mark and JJ arrive at the house of a girl who has been kind of robbed. They try to talk to her peacefully and get the money back, as well as find out exactly who put her up to slandering Seema. The girl starts a conflict, causing JJ to lash out at her with fists. Mark sends his classmate to the car and tries to talk to the slanderer again, but he fails. Soon JJ returns home, and her older brother yells at her because her sister skipped school. He asks her not to unnerve her grandmother because she recently suffered a heart attack, which JJ was the culprit of. The next morning, the girl defiantly returns the stolen money and lies that she was the one who took it out of her purse. Aris and the others don't believe it, but JJ takes all the blame, defending Seem's name. Everyone believes she is the thief and posts a video of her confession. Seem is touched and thanks the girl for her help, but worries about her reputation in the community. Meanwhile, Mark makes a deal with the hacker who hacked Freya's phone and deleted the very video. Despite this, the aunt and older brother find out about the video and tell JJ off, believing she stole the money. In the course of the conversation, the older brother calls Mark to find out how it really was, but the girl is shocked to learn that he has her classmate's number. Soon the grandmother and another aunt with whom the girl has a bad relationship arrive home. The woman believes that JJ needs treatment and psychological help, which annoys the schoolgirl, who hurriedly leaves the house. Trying to gather her thoughts, the girl leaves on a bicycle and decides to have lunch at a cafe. Taking one of the free tables, she makes an order, but she is noticed by the schoolgirls from the elite class. They inform her that JJ is a thief and ask her to be kicked out of the cafe immediately. The waiter gives in to the provocation and asks the schoolgirl to leave, but Yuri appears in the establishment. Having informed about who his grandfather is, the guy with red hair demands to expel all outsiders from the institution and promises to pay all bills for today in double amount. Realizing that it's impossible to quarrel with powerful people, the waiter kicks out all the outsiders, leaving only JJ and Yuri. The girl is inspired by the guy's act and does not realize that he is in love with her. At the same time, Mark parks nearby and notices that Yuri and JJ are having lunch together. Despite revenge plans and other devious schemes, Mark is jealous of the girl with other guys and can't look at what's going on calmly. Watching the couple from the outside, Mark decides to write to Yuri, but at some point changes his mind and decides not to interfere with them. Instead of stopping by the cafe, he calls his friends and leaves to play basketball. Meanwhile, JJ JJ and Yuri continue to socialize to get to know each other better. The girl admits that she had 2 attempts to build a relationship, but one guy had no feelings for her and the other ended up in the hospital and is still in a coma. Yuri admits that he was in love only once, and it was Ella, but she did not reciprocate him. At the same time, he decides to keep silent that he has fallen in love again, but this time with JJ. Meeting up with his friends, Mark asks a hacker to hack into the school's CCTV cameras to prove to everyone that Seam wasn't stealing money. Unfortunately, the hacker doesn't succeed as someone blocks access to the system. Mark continues to think of a revenge plan using JJ and suggests acting differently, both towards her and Seam's situation. In the evening, Yuri decides to give JJ a ride home, but he doesn't have a car, so the couple travels by bicycle. The guy is uncomfortable with the girl hugging her, which leads to an argument, resulting in the schoolgirl falling and injuring her leg. Feeling guilty, Yuri offers to get on her bike and takes her home. Grabbing JJ in his arms, he does not let her go and offers to carry her into the house. Meeting them on the doorstep, the grandmother invites Yuri in and watches his relationship with her granddaughter with interest. Once in the house, Yuri carefully treats the wound on the girl's leg, causing the grandmother to invite him to dinner. Eris is categorically opposed and tries to challenge the old lady's decision, but she grabs him by the ear and demands that the guy does not cross the elders. The second aunt reacts negatively to the guy's appearance in their house, reminding JJ that her past boyfriend ended up in the hospital. During dinner, Yuri and JJ exchange food, giving each other their favorite ingredients. Watching them with interest, the grandmother assumes that Yuri is JJ's crush and they are in a relationship, but the granddaughter denies the fact, claiming that they are just friends and classmates. A little later, the girl walks the guy out and suggests that he join the circle of friends having lunch together on the second floor. Soon, JJ remembers that Mark wrote to her and suggested an alternative plan of action to rehabilitate Seam and whitewash his reputation. The next morning, the girl arrives at class and sees that her classmates have kidnapped the liars. While the girl liar is being held, her boyfriend is being beaten, forcing him to tell the truth. They deny it for a long time, but do admit that they were forced to frame Seema and he didn't steal anything. Rocky records their confession and a hacker hacks Freya's phone to publish a video from her page. After seeing this, everyone realizes that Seema is not the thief, and Freya freaks out, not realizing who did it from her profile. Mark's plan succeeds, so everyone thanks him for the idea, and JJ agrees to repay the monetary debt by giving him her lunches. A little later, David, Yuri, Seam, and JJ go to the second floor to eat lunch. The girl doesn't have enough food for everyone, but Yuri bought rolls for her to please a classmate he has a secret crush on. The next morning, JJ meets Percy offering his help. The girl refuses as she is not familiar with him and is a bit distrustful of a stranger. Following him comes Yuri, who decides to give the girl a ride, showing attention and care. In the course of the class, it becomes known that the school will hold an annual festival, which lasts for a whole week. JJ and others want to take part in it, but Mark is categorically against it because in addition to entertainment, their class should be responsible for cleanliness and order. This leads to an argument between the boy and the girl, but Mark insists on his own, taking away all the food from JJ. A little later, the friends again decide to go up to the second floor to have lunch, but Mark forbids them to eat separately. He orders them to eat next to each other, promising that no one will steal their food. He tries to squeeze into the circle of friends and sits between JJ and Yuri, which annoys the red-haired guy a bit. The others ask for some food as they are very hungry, and JJ invites them to the communal table. She agrees to cook for the whole class, but on the condition that the kitchen is allowed to be operated by its owner. As it turns out, all the appliances and utensils belong to Emin, a guy whose family owns a restaurant. They were once successful, but the guy's father got burns and can't cook, causing the schoolboy to have to work at the restaurant. Going there, the friends notice that the institution is on the verge of bankruptcy because it has almost no visitors and only a few people work. JJ decides to help and suggests that the others join her. JJ, Yuri, Seam, and the other school children start working as waiters, cleaners, and cooks. The customers love their service and pay special attention to Yuri, thinking he is a handsome guy. Watching all this from the outside, Mark is angry that the girl pays attention to another guy. Determined to win her sympathy and the love of the audience, he takes off his shirt, showing off his muscles. Yuri does the same, and a real fight for JJ's attention begins between them. A little later, Mark accidentally pours hot soup on her hand, causing her to get a severe burn. Feeling a little guilty for what happened, JJ treats the guy's wound. The care and attention makes Mark realize that he is in love with her, but the guy is afraid of the feelings because it will ruin her cousin's revenge plan. Everything seems to be fine, but at some point elite students show up at the restaurant, including Eris and his girlfriend Ella. Class E students meet them at the threshold with a crowd, realizing that the appearance of students of prestigious classes does not mean anything good and may end up in another conflict. Yuri can't handle his emotions, so he retreats to the kitchen to avoid a fight. JJ and Mark contain their anger and are ready to serve the customers. Aris, Ella, and Freya use all available methods to insult the school children, calling them beggars and servants. Determined to make a gesture that will anger them back, Mark hugs JJ, which Aris doesn't like. Eventually, a group of several elite high school students place an order. Felix notices that Aris and his cousin have a tainted relationship. He assumes that Mark's revenge plan doesn't make sense, but soon realizes that the guy just has a thing for JJ and his plans have been out of control for a long time. Meanwhile, Kiko approaches JJ and confesses his sympathy for her. The guy from the elite class asks for permission to court the girl, but she is shocked and doesn't know what to say in response. David overhears the conversation and prevents them from communicating. Forcefully taking the girl to the kitchen, David tells his classmates about everything. Yuri, Mark, and other guys who appreciate JJ are angry about what is happening and demand to answer if she had something with Kiko. The girl denies everything and promises not to give the guy a chance. Sem realizes that JJ is not interested in Kiko, as she has an interest in one of her classmates. At the same time, he asks the girl to stay away from Kiko because he is a bully who has repeatedly beaten David and in a foul fight. In the evening, Yuri gives JJ a ride home as she is suddenly met by Kiko. He asks her to think about his proposal, but Aris interferes with communication. He forbids his sister from seeing anyone, reminding her that her ex is still in a coma in the hospital. The next morning, JJ is greeted by Mark, who has been waiting outside her house since the morning. Asked to feed him, the guy eats from the girl's hands and she finds it very romantic. A couple weeks later, Amon informs her that his father has recovered and the cooks are going back to work, so his classmates may not help him anymore. As a thank you, not only does he return to class, but he will cook a holiday meal for them. Realizing that they are unlikely to be at the restaurant again, Mark orders breakfast for two for himself and JJ. At first he jokes that the girl will be paying, but soon informs her that it's a prank. Yuri watches them and remains jealous of JJ, but is afraid to admit his feelings. A couple days later, the classmates arrive at JJ's house and suggest they go shopping. They go to the supermarket and buy a lot of food so they can cook at school and do without the cafeteria. When everyone takes things to the car, Mark helps the girl, but Yuri doesn't have time to help her, which makes him feel like a loser again. A few days later, Yuri decides to take off her glasses and replace them with lenses. JJ not only notices this, but compliments the guy's looks, which makes him very happy. While getting ready for lunch, JJ decides to inquire about how Ella once ended up in their class. A man admits that Ella is a horrible person and her looks are deceiving. The pretty girl was constantly fighting to the point of blood and humiliating everyone she didn't like, which almost got her kicked out of school. The reason why she was sent to an elite class remains secret, and Mark prevents anyone from continuing to discuss his ex-girlfriend. Soon David returns to class, and the students notice that he has been badly beaten up. As it turns out, Kiko has once again used dirty tricks and attacked him from behind to gain the upper hand. Realizing that they need revenge, the boys discuss a plan of action. JJ tries to intervene or eavesdrop, but she is shut out of the men's squabbles in every way possible. At first, the guys just avoid her, and then they come up with a formal excuse for JJ to leave. The girl goes to the bathroom to wash dishes in the only working sink. A little later, Mark decides to talk to her again to make sure the girl has rejected Kiko. As it turns out, he spreads rumors that he's already dating her, and that's exactly what David didn't like and led to a fight. Realizing that Kiko needs to be punished for his insolence, the five guys from Class E go to the showdown. JJ guesses that they are up to something bad and follows the boys. Once the girl is inside an abandoned factory building, someone unknown attacks her from behind and kidnaps JJ. Soon the elite and the bullies meet up to fight and figure out who is better. Moments before, Ram, a member of the bully gang feuding with the guys from their school, shows up on the second floor. Mark knows Ram and asks him to stay out of the way, but he admits that he has JJ as his prisoner. Mark, Yuri, Kiko, and the others demand that the bully let the girl go, but he keeps her tied up. At one point, Ram shows interest in JJ and decides to kiss her. Resisting this, the girl punches him in the face and jumps from the second floor into the unknown. The school children are frightened and rush to her to help her, and at this unpredictable event, the second part ends. Don't forget to watch the first part if you haven't seen it and give this video a like.